are continuing with our introduction of economics, and today we are going to consider the fundamental economic problems, and as already hinted on, they are mainly three. They are three basic ones, basic problems, that is scarcity, choice, and opportunity cost. These are the major principles along which economics rotates, and we need to analyze them, understand the meaning of each and every one of these concepts, and how they are useful in our study and the analysis of economic concepts and economic problems. Let's begin with the first one, which is scarcity, and have its definition. This means limited in supply relative to demand. So, as I've already seen, resources are scarce, they are not enough. We cannot have each and everything that we have, which means they are scarce. We have limited supply of each and everything relative to the demand for it. And the demand is what we call the unlimited wants. Relative to demand of unlimited wants of man. Wants of man. So, limited in supply, relative to demand or unlimited wants of man. All things are in short supply relative to people's wants, which leads to making a choice. We find that because we are not able to access resources that can be able to satisfy all our needs, we are required to choose among the options around. So that brings us to the second concept, which is choice. Choice. And why do we choose? Because of our unlimited wants and the limited supply, okay, we can add there, of resources, limited supply of resources relative to demand or unlimited wants of man. So our wants are unlimited, they are unending, yet the resources which we need to use in order to satisfy them are not in ample supply, which requires us to choose among the many alternatives. So choice simply means taking the right decision. This is taking the right decision. Right decision among the many options or alternatives. Making the right decision among the many options or alternatives. And choices are made by, or choice is made by both the consumer and the producer. Both the consumer and producer. So these are the key people. Producer avails us with the goods and services, and consumer has to satisfy his unlimited wants, and because the resources available to the consumer are limited, He has to choose among what is important or what is required most, and then leaves out the rest. Even the producer, he doesn't have enough resources for the production of the various goods and services needed in society or in an economy. Hence, whenever he chooses to produce one commodity, the resources which are permitted by the resources, he leaves out others which remain unproduced. Then we find that man has to choose among the alternative ones and make a scale of preference. So this brings us to another term that is enabling or facilitating the making of a choice. Man has to make a choice, to make a choice among the many options, which creates or which makes him to draw a scale of preference. Scale of preference. So if a consumer has a scale of preference, this is going to make his choices very easy. Because with a scale of preference, we can say that this is the arrangement scale of preference is the arrangement of human wants by a consumer in order of preference, in order of priority, with the most needed, topping the list, and the least needed at the bottom, and the least needed at the bottom of the list. Bottom of the list. So the scale of preference, as already emphasized, is very important, and it makes the choices of the consumer to be very easy, because you are arranging your human wants in order of priority, whereby on that list, number 1 is what you need most, and maybe number 10 is what you need last. You can have an example, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you find that on your list of wants as a consumer, there may be food, there may be medical care, maybe I also need some textbooks, maybe I need a dress, maybe I need a phone, and maybe I also need a bike. So if I have money, which now I assume is my resource, I will use my money to buy food as number 1. I can't buy a bike, as my scale of preference is already telling me that the most important want in my life is food. Whether I have a bike or not, at least I may not be able to survive without food, but I can survive without the bike. Maybe I'm on medication, and if I don't take my medicine, it will be dangerous to my health. So the moment I have food, next I'll be able to allocate my resources which is money, to the buying of medicine and maybe textbooks, and as they follow there. And I can't say that if I get my money, the first thing I'll do is to buy a phone. No, this is not a what? A priority. So here, whenever you choose one, you leave out another. And here, as I was emphasizing, the scale of preference assists the consumer to make choices much more easily, because it is guiding you on what is important. And though we don't normally write it down, but at least we have it in our mind that what I want today with my income is this one, so that you don't have that kind of random shopping and random wastage of resources, but you are systematic. And in most cases, it is done by students when they are going back to school. They give you a shopping list, and then on that list, usually what they want most is what is number one, and what maybe when you don't have money and it is at the bottom, that one you may not give it to him or her. So even for us consumers, it is necessary that we need to have a scale of preference to guide our choices, because we are choosing based on the limited resources and our unlimited wants. The wants are many. This list is a list of our wants, and these are just to mention a few, but we don't have the money to satisfy all of them. Hence, they need to be guided in making the right choice, as the definition is telling us here, that choice is making of the right decision among the many options. And having come to choice, we see that now we are choosing one commodity and leaving out another. So whatever has a tick, if you are given the money, you may be able to buy it, but you find that all these, you don't have the money, though you wanted them, but the resources could not permit you to access them or to get them. So you choose what you can obtain using the available resources, and you leave out what you wanted, but you cannot be able to access because of the limited money. And that brings us to the third concept, which is opportunity cost. So from choice, now we go to explain opportunity cost. 3 is opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. And it is defined as the second best alternative foregone whenever choice is made. When choice is made. Second best alternative foregone when choice is made. So when you choose food and you don't have the medical care, this becomes your first choice, but this would have been a second choice, but you have left it out because of the limited resources. So whatever you leave out, but you have wanted it, becomes your second best alternative. All these are alternatives to be chosen from, or they are options of goods that you need to buy, but the limited resources are making you choose what is priority in your life, and whatever you leave out is a best alternative foregone whenever you make that kind of choice. So in our day-to-day kind of situations, we usually have opportunity cost in choosing one and leaving out the other. We can also say that opportunity cost is the next best alternative foregone whenever choice is made. You can either call it next best or any alternative foregone or left out whenever choice is made. You shall be supplementing these lessons with more reading and have a variety of definitions that can be able to make you understand the concepts better. So opportunity cost arises out of scarcity because the consumption of one product makes you or means doing without another. So opportunity cost arises out of scarcity. Why? Because the choosing of one item, choosing of one item makes you as a consumer or a producer do without the other. So that's where the cost is, the pain, that missing out of a good. You feel that you are missing out on that good. You are actually feeling a pain. You have wanted your phone, but the money is not there. So opportunity cost arises out of scarcity. Resources are scarce. They are not enough. Otherwise, you would have been able to buy it and everything. But you have to make a choice. Choose what is important out of your scale of preference. And whenever you make a choice, there are certain items you do without, and you find that those you do without become your opportunity cost arising out of making a choice. So that is very important. And economists use the opportunity cost principle to explain that our pain is actually making us have some kind of expense, but that expense cannot be expressed in monetary terms, but we can feel it in our hearts, we can feel it in our life, that actually I'm being pained by not having that item I'm doing without because of the limited resources. And now we can try to find out what is the importance of opportunity cost in economics. Why do we bother ourselves to study these concepts? We have seen that they are the fundamental economic problems, but an issue like opportunity cost, when do we ever use it? When do we ever confront it? So this brings us to the importance of opportunity cost in economics. Importance of opportunity cost. Opportunity cost in economics, or in our day-to-day life situations. We find that consumers use that concept. Consumers use the concept when making consumption decisions. We have seen that resources are not enough, and consumers have unlimited wants, and they usually want to maximize their utility. So if you have your limited resources against the unlimited ones, and you want to maximize your satisfaction or your utility, definitely the element of opportunity cost is always there. Whatever you choose becomes your choice, and whatever you leave out becomes your opportunity cost, knowing that the choice is going to give you the maximum amount of satisfaction. Then we find that it is used in pricing of factors of production as well as finished goods. And who fixes these prices? We find that we have producers. Producers use the concept to determine the prices of their goods. So you find that you have to determine a price which you know is going to be giving you maximum profitability, and you find that you attach a price to that commodity, knowing that there is another one which is competing with it, but if people don't buy your commodity, then it may be rather problematic. So attach a price that will not make your commodity to be the second alternative foregone, but make it the right choice for the consumers. It is also used by labor. when choosing, again you see it is a matter of choice, choosing between work and leisure, used by labor when choosing between work and leisure. So you find that here now the resource for our labor is time. You can allocate your time either to work, and that same time you can allocate it for your leisure. And you find that this is your limited resource, and these are the wants or needs of you as a laborer. And you find that either you use your time to work, and whenever you work, you are able to get more money or a higher income. But when you are on leisure, you are simply spending money, but at least that leisure makes you relax and so on. So if you are to choose between the two, you have to see the time. That time will have been useful to you to earn more money if you allocated it to working, or if you already have your money and you don't mind, then you use that money on leisure and so on. But you know that you cannot have both of them at the same time. You cannot be working and enjoying leisure at the same time. As I've said, whenever you choose one, you have to go without the other, which is the exact definition of opportunity cost. So the moment you choose work, there will be no leisure, because both of them take the time, which is our limited resource. And that's where we find its applicability in our day-to-day kind of life situations, where labor has to make a right choice, which is the right decision of either work and earn more or go for leisure, but the time is not enough for both of them if they are to happen at the same time. Then it is used by a country, used by a country to decide. Again, all these are decisions which are choices so it decide what to produce for the international market, what to produce for the international market. So countries trade with others, and you have to know how much you are going to export, how much you are going to import, and you find that imports are paid for by exports. So you have to choose that commodity or that product in your economy which is going to give you the highest returns. The options are many. You may be having so many commodities that you are producing, but not all of them are going to go on the international market. Some are going to be for the domestic market. But for the international market, you have to know that you are not the only supplier. So you have to choose in the best way possible that product according to your comparative advantage that will fetch enough foreign exchange which you can use to pay for your imports. And there an element of opportunity cost is always there, because as you make a choice of one, you leave out the other. Then it helps in making production decisions. Producers base their production decisions on opportunity cost. Why? Again, because resources are limited. The moment you use land, take an example of a farmer. You have a farmer and he has his land, which is our resource, and maybe it is 1 acre. And on that 1 acre, the farmer can either put there maize, or he can put there bananas, or he can put there ranch. So these are the options which can be utilized on an acre of land that the farmer has. And the land is not much, only 1 acre is available. The moment you choose to plant maize, then you cannot have animals there. A ranch may be that of animals that may be either for meat or for milk. So the moment you choose to use your land for maize, then remember that you cannot at the same time use the same land to rear animals from there. The moment you choose maize, maybe at the beginning you can intercrop, but the moment the bananas grow, maize will never be growing well with the bananas and so on. So again here, producers have to make a choice. I have my limited resources. So what is the best product that I'm going to produce with the available resources? And whenever you choose to allocate your resources for the production of one, there is a second best alternative you are leaving out, or you are foregoing, and that is because of the limited resources and the choice you have made. So choosing maize, you forego the animals. Choosing animals, it means that the maize will not be grown there. So we are always living in that situation of opportunity cost, alternatives being foregone, and all arising out of the limited resources. Then we also have the limitations. Not all the time do we have opportunity cost being followed. There are certain hurdles, there are certain bottlenecks that stand in the way. And let's try to examine these ones again in our introductions. Limitations. Limitations of opportunity cost. Limitations of opportunity cost. Meaning that you have been okay to apply opportunity cost now and again, but we find that sometimes we are not guided by it in the best way possible, and this is because of the following. Number one, it lacks uniformity. It lacks uniformity. Why? Because of differences. In tastes of people. So different people have different tastes and preferences, and for that matter, it is subjective. Lacks uniformity, which makes it to be subjective. What you consider as least or as priority may not be priority or least wanted by another person. And whatever becomes an opportunity cost to you may be my choice and not my opportunity cost. So it lacks that kind of uniformity. We cannot conclude generally that all of us have the same opportunity cost for the same commodity. No way. Others may find it irrelevant, whereas others look at it as the major item in their scale of preference. It assumes a rational consumer and a producer. So opportunity cost, in order to operate, it assumes that our consumers and producers are rational, meaning that they have to make decisions which are guided by sanity, assumes rational consumers and producers, which is not always the case. Consumers are not rational. Sometimes they operate or they act in irrational ways, and they go out of their way to do the unwanted, and for that matter, opportunity cost is going to be limited. Then another limitation is that it does not have a cardinal value. opportunity cost does not have a cardinal value. Cardinal value, hence cannot be measured. Cannot be measured. So we simply say that somebody has foregone something and maybe he or she is missing it out in such and such a weight, but we can't actually know that it's so many kilograms, it's so many liters, it's so many kilometers. No, it has no cardinal measure, and for that matter, not easy to measure, cannot be measured, and that becomes a limitation. How much are you going to say that? For me, my opportunity cost was so much grams. My opportunity cost of having this commodity and leaving up the other was weighing so much. So that is not possible, and hence it cannot be generally applied as full operational. Then it operates under full employment. Operates under full employment situations. Full employment situations, but we find that these are hard. These are difficult. These are difficult to come across. To come across in any economy. In an economy. So we have pockets or elements of unemployment here and there, and if opportunity cost is to operate where resources are fully utilized, then we find that it will not be very easy to use it. So now what we require is to have a relationship between these three concepts. You may be given a question asking you to relate the three basic concepts. Relate the three basic economic problems. First of all, you have to know them. You have to remember them. The first one is scarcity, the second one is choice, and the third one is opportunity cost. How can you now relate them in one statement which is meaningful and understood by people? So we can say that resources are scarce relative to human wants. Therefore, consumers and producers have to make a choice, and in doing so, they forego the next best alternative, which is opportunity cost. Resources are scarce, therefore, consumers and producers have to make resources are scarce relative to human wants. Relative to human wants. Therefore, consumers and producers have to make a choice among the many alternatives, and whenever choice is made, it creates an opportunity cost. It's an opportunity cost. So there our three economic problems are included. Resources are scarce, because they are scarce, you have to make a choice, and whenever you make a choice, you create an opportunity cost. So that's how you can bring them